Have you ever thought that falling asleep while praying the Rosary might be more than just tiredness? Maybe you've experienced it and wondered if you're doing something wrong, or even questioned if your faith is strong enough. The truth, however, is that this experience holds a much deeper meaning than you might imagine. Padre Pio, one of the greatest saints of the Church, understood better than anyone the challenges we face when trying to stay focused in prayer. And he had a crucial lesson for you, one that will change the way you view prayer and spiritual struggle. What many don't realize is that sometimes even tiredness can be part of a divine plan. The Bible teaches us that our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces. And what many fail to see is that these moments of drowsiness could be a sign that the spiritual battle is more intense than ever. Padre Pio, who faced a life full of trials and spiritual attacks, knew how to use every situation to grow in faith and strengthen his devotion. Now, it's time for you to understand what it means when fatigue invades your prayer and how to respond to it in a way that makes you stronger spiritually. The Rosary is a time of deep connection, but have you ever noticed how easy it is to lose focus during this prayer time? Sometimes, it feels like thoughts start to wander, or even fatigue arrives unexpectedly. How many times, in the middle of repeating the prayers, has an involuntary yawn appeared, as if your body is asking for rest? This is not rare. Many Christians have gone through this, and it's important to know that this phenomenon can have roots deeper than just physical tiredness. It's not hard to understand. With so many stimuli we receive every day, the mind tires quickly, causing us to lose focus on prayer. But what lies behind this tiredness and difficulty in staying focused during the Rosary? For many, the explanation goes beyond just a lack of energy. It could be that the enemy is trying to pull us away from such a powerful practice as prayer. During the Rosary, when you begin to pray, you are, in fact, calling on spiritual forces to act in your life. The evil one, of course, doesn't want you to do this. And that's why he often tries to distract us, making us feel inexplicable tiredness or even causing us to fall asleep while praying. What you feel is real, but it's also an opportunity to realize that your prayer has power, and that it's precisely when we feel weak that we need to focus even more. And who hasn't asked themselves, is drowsiness during prayer a sign that I'm doing something wrong? It might be that the tiredness is simply a natural consequence of your routine, or an attempt by the evil spirit to knock us off our path. The good news, as Padre Pio teaches us, is that we must persevere. Even when the body is tired and the eyes start to close, we must continue. Prayer, in fact, can be a way to rest in the Lord. And if you truly feel that there is something spiritual behind this tiredness, knowing that already helps strengthen your faith, because you start to perceive the invisible battle happening around you. The Rosary is much more than a repetition of words. It is a true spiritual weapon that, when used with faith and devotion, can bring immeasurable spiritual victories. When Padre Pio spoke about the power of the Rosary, he was referring to something that went beyond a simple prayer exercise. For him, the Rosary not only brings God's peace, but it is also protection against evil forces. By praying it, you are putting on an invisible, yet real, shield against spiritual attacks. The power of each Hail Mary and Our Father is not just a formula, but a declaration of faith and protection. A historical example that confirms the strength of the Rosary is the Battle of Lepanto in 1571, when a Christian fleet faced the Ottoman Empire. Pope Pius V, before the battle, asked the faithful to pray the Rosary, trusting that prayer would bring protection and victory. And, surprisingly, victory came. The battle was won in an unexpected way, and many believe that divine intervention came through the Rosary prayers. This episode is not an isolated case. Throughout history, many spiritual and physical victories have occurred when the Rosary was prayed with faith and determination, reminding us of the transformative power of this practice. Therefore, the Rosary should not be underestimated. When you pray it, you are, in a sense, using a spiritual key that can open doors of protection and grace. Evil knows this and tries, at all costs, to distract our attention. But resistance to the enemy begins precisely with this simple and powerful weapon. Remember, every prayer you make is not in vain. It has the power to defeat evil, restore inner peace, and even protect your family and community. And this is something that only true faith can unlock. Padre Pio, with his deep spirituality, understood the challenges we face when trying to stay focused during prayer. For him, drowsiness during the Rosary was not just a physical consequence, but a spiritual struggle. He believed there were three main reasons for this tiredness that catches us off guard. The first, of course, is the natural tiredness we all feel after an exhausting day. The busy routine, the commitments, and the rush can leave the body tired, causing us, at prayer time, to be overcome by the desire to rest. But Padre Pio reminded us that this is an opportunity to surrender our body and mind to God, even when we are tired. However, not all drowsiness can be attributed solely to physical fatigue. Padre Pio taught that sometimes the enemy tries to divert us from prayer, especially when it is powerful and effective. This inexplicable tiredness could, in fact, be a spiritual attack. When we try to pray with all our heart, evil notices our intention and tries to distract us, placing a weight on our eyes and mind, making us want to give up. The solution: persist. Do not let the enemy win just because our body is tired. Remember, prayer is a spiritual battle, and every word you say is a shield against attacks. Finally, Padre Pio taught us that, in some situations, God allows tiredness to invade us to protect our soul from even more intense spiritual attacks. In times of great spiritual warfare, God may allow you to experience temporary rest to preserve your inner strength. Even when the body is weak, the soul can be strengthened. So, if you feel drowsy during prayer, don't despair. Instead of seeing it as an obstacle, view it as an invitation to trust in God, persevere in prayer, and remember that He is taking care of you, even during times of rest. Staying firm in prayer, even when tiredness sets in or distractions seem uncontrollable, is one of the greatest challenges of spiritual life. Padre Pio, who faced immense difficulties and spiritual battles, always insisted on the importance of perseverance. Prayer is not something we should only do when we are motivated or when circumstances are favorable. No, it should be a constant practice, a routine that persists regardless of the difficulties. When tiredness or distractions arise, many may think of giving up. However, Padre Pio taught us that it is precisely in these moments that we need to continue, not only to overcome evil but also to strengthen our own soul. If you've ever found yourself trying to pray and, at some point, your mind starts to wander, you are not alone. We all face these moments of weakness. Padre Pio suggested some strategies to keep going, even when distractions and tiredness attack us. Changing your position can be a simple, yet effective way to refocus. If you're sitting and feel your mind beginning to wander, try standing up or taking a step forward. This physical change can help renew your commitment and remind you of the power of prayer. Another practical suggestion from Padre Pio was to take short pauses between prayers, such as a brief moment to take a deep breath. This helps maintain focus, giving the body a chance to relax while the soul remains firm in devotion. However, the greatest key that Padre Pio leaves us is that perseverance in prayer is a battle in itself. No matter how difficult prayer becomes, the important thing is not to give up. Even when tiredness seems unbearable, it is in these moments that you are closest to a great spiritual victory. Every prayer made in perseverance has eternal value. Remember, as the Bible teaches us, the fervent prayer of the righteous avails much. If you persevere, even when your flesh wants to rest, you will be fulfilling God's will and strengthening your faith in a way that you may not immediately realize. In the realm of spirituality, words carry immense power, especially when aligned with God's truth. Padre Pio knew this, and that's why he taught the faithful to use powerful words to repel spiritual attacks. One of the phrases he used most to combat evil was, "May Jesus live forever, may Mary live forever." These words, simple and full of faith, carry a supernatural force. They are not just words spoken casually. They are declarations of faith that resonate in the spiritual dimensions, driving away any negative influence. When you recite these words, you are not merely asking for protection, but also affirming the sovereignty of Jesus and the protection of Mary over your life. In addition, Padre Pio had a powerful testimony about his own experience with spiritual attacks. On one occasion, he was directly attacked by the devil, but he stood firm in his faith and used words of power to repel evil. When the devil approached, trying to weaken him and pull him away from prayer, Padre Pio responded with impressive firmness, saying those powerful words, "May Jesus live forever, may Mary live forever." And, as if by miracle, the attack ceased. Evil was repelled, and peace returned to his heart. This example of spiritual courage shows how faith, combined with words of power, can defeat even the most intense attacks from the enemy. So, when facing difficult moments, when you feel the evil trying to take over your mind or environment, repeat these words of power with faith. Do not underestimate the impact of the words you speak. If you feel weak or discouraged, Invoke divine protection. Remember that, by using words of power, you are aligning yourself with God's own power, and this can transform any situation. These words are not just a way to drive away evil but also a way to reaffirm your trust in God and His constant presence in your life. Padre Pio always reminded the faithful that prayer is not just a moment of inner peace but also a true spiritual battle. The Rosary, in particular, is a powerful weapon against the forces of evil, but to use it effectively, we must understand that prayer is, indeed, a battlefield. With every word spoken, with every mystery meditated, you are joining the heavenly army, fighting against the invisible forces trying to divert us from the path of God. The enemy knows the strength of prayer, especially the Rosary, and that's why he tries in every way to interrupt this moment of connection with God. Evil recognizes the destructive power of prayer and does everything it can to disrupt it. Distractions are a common tactic. Inexplicable tiredness, wandering thoughts, and anxiety can appear out of nowhere when you begin to pray. This happens because the enemy is trying to stop you from using prayer as a weapon against him. Padre Pio, in the face of so many spiritual struggles, taught us not to give up, to keep praying even when everything around us seems to try to pull us away from prayer. He knew that true spiritual victory comes when we resist, when we remain steadfast in prayer, no matter the obstacles. It is crucial, then, that you view each moment of prayer as an opportunity for resistance. When you feel the evil trying to distract you, remember that every prayer made with faith is a victory, even when we don't see immediate results. Don't underestimate the power of a prayer made with a sincere heart. Just as evil tries to attack us, we also have an infinite source of strength through prayer. This is why the Rosary, in its simplicity, is an essential tool in this spiritual battle. If you know how to use it correctly, with devotion and perseverance, it will be your shield and sword. Often, daily challenges seem to pull us away from our devotional practice. Financial problems, family difficulties, emotional crises, these can all make us feel like prayer is no longer a priority. But, as Padre Pio knew so well, it is precisely in these moments of difficulty that prayer becomes even more essential. When the obstacles of daily life seem to crush our peace, prayer is the key to overcoming these challenges. It not only connects us to God, but also gives us the strength to face adversities with a new perspective. If you're going through a tough time, know that prayer can be the light that illuminates your path. According to Christianity, prayer is not just a request for help, but a way to strengthen the spirit. In moments of difficulty, when everything seems lost, it is prayer that gives us resilience. Padre Pio, in his own life, faced numerous struggles, from health problems to spiritual attacks, and always emphasized that prayer was his main source of strength. When life's problems seem overwhelming, remember that prayer not only relieves the burden but also strengthens your faith. It reminds us that, regardless of the circumstances, God is always with us. Therefore, if you're going through a crisis, see it not as an obstacle to prayer, but as an opportunity to dive even deeper into it. Do not let the challenges of life, no matter how tough they may be, pull you away from God. Remember that, through prayer, you find the balance needed to overcome turbulent times. God understands your struggles, and even when you don't have the strength to fight, prayer becomes your silent battle, where He fights by your side. Many times, we feel frustrated when our prayer isn't answered in the way we expect. Sometimes, sleep overtakes us or we feel that our words have no effect. However, God's promise for those who pray sincerely is clear. He sees the desire of the heart and understands our intention, even when tiredness or distraction seems to pull us away. Padre Pio taught us that prayer is more than words. It is the sincere desire to be in communion with God, to open our heart and place ourselves at His disposal. Even when we fall asleep during the Rosary or struggle to keep our focus, God understands our devotion. The Lord knows our inner being, and He values every effort made with genuine faith. Even if you fall asleep while praying, don't feel discouraged. God doesn't just look at the physical act of praying but at the intention and the heart behind the prayer. This is an immense comfort for all of us, because we know that, even in our weaknesses and limitations, God accepts our sincere devotion. Padre Pio often said that sometimes, even the moments when we cannot concentrate our mind on the words of prayer are valuable in God's eyes because He sees our inner struggle to connect with Him. Prayer is, therefore, a way of offering our lives to God, and He accepts that offering, regardless of external flaws. For this reason, don't give up on the practice of the Rosary or any prayer you've started. Even if you can't stay focused all the time, God knows the sincerity of your heart. He understands your desire to be closer to Him, and that is what truly matters. Keep praying with the same intention, knowing that He accepts your devotion, and little by little, you will notice the transformation in your spiritual life. When we pray the Rosary, we are not only praying directly to God but also asking for the intercession of Mary, the Mother of Jesus. Trusting in Mary as our intercessor is a powerful and fundamental element of the Rosary. Padre Pio, with all his wisdom, knew that Mary's presence was a great refuge in times of difficulty. She is the Mother who accompanies us, protects us, and intercedes for us before her Son. When we ask for Mary's intercession, we are not only invoking a maternal figure but also a spiritual force that, as a mother, never stops caring for her children. The Rosary, therefore, is also a way of placing ourselves under her protection and trusting in her spiritual aid. The testimony of saints who prayed the Rosary and experienced miracles and transformations is a strong testament to the power of Mary's intercession. One clear example of this is the story of Saint Stanislaus Kostka, who, while praying the Rosary with devotion, experienced a miraculous healing. During his life, he faced a serious health crisis, and it was Mary's intercession, through the prayer of the Rosary, that brought him healing. This is just one of the many accounts that show how Mary, as an intercessor, is able to intervene in our lives in remarkable ways, bringing grace and miracles when we need them most. Therefore, when you pray the Rosary, remember that you are not alone. You are in good company, with Mary by your side, interceding for you before God. Her intercession holds immense power, as she is the Mother of the Savior, and her help is essential in the spiritual battle we all face. Trusting in Mary, especially during moments of difficulty or doubt, is one of the most powerful ways to strengthen our faith and fortify our spirituality. When you invoke her, you are not only asking for help but also recognizing her divine authority and her protection in your spiritual journey. Now that you know the power of the Rosary and how it can be a spiritual weapon in your life, it's time to put into practice everything you've learned. I invite you to share your experience in the comments below. How has the Rosary impacted your life? What miracles have you witnessed while praying with faith? There is no better way to strengthen your spiritual walk than by sharing with others what God has done in your life. Your story might be the answer someone needs to persevere in prayer. So, if you feel in your heart the desire to share, don't hesitate. Moreover, if you want to continue deepening your understanding of the power of the Rosary and the teachings of Padre Pio, I recommend watching the complimentary video we've prepared. In this video, we will explore even more how the Rosary can be a powerful tool in your spiritual life, bringing even more clarity and strength to your daily prayers. Don't miss this opportunity to strengthen your faith and your understanding of this transformative practice. By doing this, you not only deepen your knowledge but also connect with a community of faith that shares the same quest for more intimacy with God. Finally, remember, the Rosary is not just a devotional practice, but a constant spiritual battle. Every prayer, every mystery, every Hail Mary is an opportunity to enter into combat against the forces of evil and to seek divine protection. Stay firm, keep praying, and above all, keep believing in the power of prayer. God is always listening, and He will certainly see your effort and dedication. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications to continue learning how to live a life full of faith and spiritual strength.